The rim of the Grand Canyon dropped away like a god's cruel punchline. And there I was, teetering on the edge, Alexander's hand slipping from mine as if it had never been there at all. "It's nothing," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder over the abyss. Eyes darting back to the group of hikers who just caught us in that stolen moment of almost kiss. In that split second, the wind howled up from a mile-deep scar in the earth, carrying the weight of every secret we'd buried, and I knew, bone-deep, heart-shredding knew, that the fall wasn't down into the canyon, but straight into the chasm he'd just ripped open between us. I grew up in the flat, unforgiving sprawl of rural Ohio, where cornfields stretched like yellow regrets under a sky that promised escape but delivered only more humidity. Jacob Harlan. That was me, back then. A scrawny kid with too many questions and not enough answers, hiding dog-eared copies of Walt Whitman's poetry under my mattress like contraband. Church on Sundays meant fire and brimstone sermons about the sins of the flesh, and by high school, I'd learned to swallow my truths with the communion wafer, chasing them down with stolen sips of my dad's bourbon. Dreams? Hell, I had 'em in spades. New York City, the pulse of it all, stages where I could pour out stories that weren't mine to tell. But first, college in Ann Arbor, Michigan, close enough to home to feel the tether, far enough to test the snap. That's where I met Alexander Kane. Freshman orientation, sticky September heat clinging to the quad like a bad breakup. He was the guy everyone noticed. Tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless golden boy glow, sun-bleached hair that fell just so, blue eyes like Lake Michigan on a clear day, and a laugh that cut through the awkward small-talk buzz like a lifeline. He was from a suburb outside Chicago, pre-law track, captain of the intramural soccer team, the kind of straight-A charmer who made professors lean in and girls, and a few guys, blush. Me? I was theater major, props crew grunt, the invisible one sketching set designs in the back row. We collided, literally, over a spilled coffee in the student union. "Shit, sorry man," he said, grabbing napkins like a knight on a caffeine quest, his knee brushing mine as we both lunged for the mess. That touch lingered, electric and unspoken, but I played it cool. "No harm, no foul," I muttered, and just like that, he plopped down across from me, uninvited but welcome. "Alex," he said, extending a hand that engulfed mine. "Jacob," I replied, and for the first time in years, my name didn't feel like a confession. From there, it snowballed. Late-night study sessions in the dorms turned into all-nighters debating Kerouac versus Hemingway. His voice dropping low when he read aloud, mine cracking on the punchlines. We'd hike the Arboretum trails on weekends, him kicking at roots with those beat-up Nikes, me trailing with a backpack full of trail mix and unspoken what-ifs. He talked about his family. Dad a corporate lawyer, Mom the PDA queen, a little sister who idolized him, and I nodded, sharing just enough about Ohio to keep the balance. The silences between us weren't empty. They hummed with possibility, like the pause before a curtain rises. By sophomore year, we were inseparable. Roommates now, in a cramped double overlooking the frat row. Posters of Springsteen and the Mets plastered the walls. His tastes bleeding into mine, and our routines synced like clockwork. His pre-dawn runs pulling me from bed for coffee-fueled walks, my script readings lulling him to sleep on the futon. There were moments, though fleeting, heart-stopping, that blurred the lines. Like the night after his big debate win, champagne pilfered from a party, us sprawled on the fire escape, city lights winking below. "You're my anchor, Jake," he slurred, head on my shoulder, breath warm against my neck. I froze, pulse thundering, and whispered, "Always," my fingers twitching to trace the line of his jaw. But I didn't. Not yet. Summer hit like a freight train, scattering us. I interned at a community theater in Detroit, cobbling sets for a production of Angels in America. Irony not lost on me. While he clerked at his dad's firm back in Illinois, letters flew, actual paper ones at first, then emails thick with photos. Him at Wrigley Field, grinning with a foam finger. Me backstage, grease paint smeared and triumphant. "Miss you, man," he'd sign off, and I'd stare at the screen until the words blurred, wondering if the ache in my chest was just homesickness or something fiercer. Fall brought us back, changed but charged. He burst into our room with tales of boardroom battles, but his eyes lit up when he saw me, pulling me into a hug that lasted a beat too long. "Feels right now," he murmured. And damn if that didn't crack something open in me. We dove deeper. Road trip to Chicago for a Cubs game, belting out Sweet Home Chicago in a dive bar till last call. Bonfire on Lake Huron, stars so thick they pressed down like a blanket, his hand finding mine in the dark as waves lapped the shore. "What if we never grow up?" he asked once, voice soft against the crackle. I squeezed his fingers, heart slamming. "Then we don't." But shadows crept in. Whispers from his crowd, the brothers on the team, the sorority girls orbiting like satellites. Kane's got that intense friendship vibe. They'd joke, and I'd laugh it off. But Alex would tense, pulling away just enough to sting. One night, after a party where he'd danced too close with a blonde named Riley, he stumbled in late, reeking of beer and regret. "It's nothing," he said, collapsing beside me. I wanted to believe him, but the seed of doubt took root, twisting like canyon vines. By junior year, the unspoken had names. We called it us. In the quiet hours, lazy Sundays in bed watching old westerns, his arms slung casual over my waist, my head on his chest listening to the steady thump that felt like home. Kisses started tentative. A brush of lips after a nightmare woke him, my hand cupping his face as he sighed into it. Then bolder. Rain-soaked walks home from the library, him pinning me against the door with a hunger that mirrored mine. It was fire, pure and consuming, but always behind closed doors. "Not yet," he'd say when I'd push for more, for labels, for the world to know. "It's perfect like this, Jake. Don't ruin it." I didn't, not then. But the weight built, layer by layer, like sediment in a riverbed. Graduation loomed, and with it, the real world. His law school acceptance at NYU, my gamble on an MFA in Manhattan. "We'll conquer the city," he promised over greasy diner pancakes, clinking mugs like it was a vow. I believed him. God, how I believed. The move was chaos. U-Haul crammed with books and dreams, skyline rising like a challenge. Our first apartment in Brooklyn. Walk up in bed Stewie, peeling paint and roaches as roommates. Felt like victory. Days blurred into nights. Him buried in case law, me waitering tables between editions. But the nights? Ours. Cooking spaghetti with Jared sauce, dancing to Motown on a thrift store radio, collapsing into each other with the kind of exhaustion that begged for touch. It was in those early months that I first said it. Whispered against his collarbone in the dark, after a rehearsal ran late and he waited up with takeout. "I love you, Alex." He stilled, then pulled me closer, breath hitching. "You too, Jake. More than you know." "No, I love you back." But the way he held on, like I was the only solid thing in his spinning world, felt like enough. New York chewed us up and spat us out in glittering pieces. Alex aced his first semester at NYU, charming professors with that Midwestern earnestness, while I landed a gig off-Broadway. Ensemble in a queer retelling of A Streetcar Named Desire, the irony thicker than the cigarette smoke backstage. "You're a star," he'd say, showing up to every performance with roses swiped from a bodega. His pride a bomb on the bruises of rejection letters piling up in our mailbox. We built a rhythm. His late classes syncing with my closing shifts, stolen lunches in Washington Square Park where he'd feed me falafel bites, fingers lingering on my lips. The city amplified everything. The grind of the subway mirroring our hustle, the neon pulse echoing the thrill of his hand in mine under cafe tables. But cracks spiderwebbed. His family visited once, Thanksgiving in a cramped Airbnb upstate, and the air turned to glass. "So, Jacob," his dad boomed over turkey, eyes appraising, "still attached at the hip to my boy?" Alex laughed it off, but his knee pressed hard against mine under the table. "A warning? Or a plea?" Mom noticed more. "You two are like an old married couple," she'd tease, and Alex would deflect with jokes about my cooking disasters, but I'd catch the flicker in his eyes. Fear, maybe, or the ghost of expectations he couldn't shake. Back in the city, it festered. "They're just traditional," he'd say after calls that left him drained, pacing our living room like a caged wolf. I'd pull him down, kiss the tension from his brow, but the words stuck. What about us? When do we tell them? Soon, he'd promise, but soon stretched like taffy. Instead, we dove into the underground scene. Drag brunches in the village, poetry slams in lofts where I'd read verses laced with our story, him clapping loudest from the shadows. There, in the haze of acceptance, we'd steal moments. His lips on my neck in a dimly lit bar, whispering, "This is us, Jake. Real." It was enough to keep the flame alive, but embers don't warm forever. Spring brought Riley back into the picture. Ex from college, now a paralegal at Alex's firm. Sharp-suited, sharper wit, the kind of woman who turned heads and broke codes. She started as just a colleague. Group lunches he'd mention in passing. But then it was happy hours, her name slipping into conversations like an uninvited guest. "She's cool," he'd say, shrugging off my unease. "Reminds me of home." Jealousy wasn't new. I'd felt it sting before. But this gnawed deeper, a rot in the foundation. One night, he came home late, tie loosened, cologne mingling with something floral that wasn't mine. "Long day," he muttered, avoiding my eyes as he headed for the shower. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling cracks mapping our fractures, until the water stopped and he slid in beside me, cold and distant. "Talk to me," I pressed, hand on his chest. He sighed, heavy. "It's nothing, Jake. Work stress." But it wasn't. Weeks later, I saw them. Outside a coffee shop near campus, her hand on his arm, laughter spilling easy between them. My stomach dropped like an express elevator. That night, confrontation brewed over cold pizza. "What's going on with Riley?" I asked, voice steady as I could manage. He froze, fork midway. "What? Nothing. We're friends." "Friends don't look at each other like that." The words hung accusatory. He slammed the box down, eyes flashing. "Jesus, Jake, you're paranoid. It's not like that." But the denial rang hollow, and when he stormed out, slamming the door, the echo lingered longer than his footsteps. He came back at dawn, hollow-eyed, flowers in hand. Daisies, my favorite, a peace offering wrapped in guilt. "I'm sorry," he said, pulling me close. "It's just pressure. The firm, family, everything. Riley gets it, you know? No strings." We made up in the tangle of sheets. His apologies murmured against my skin, but the trust? Fractured, like a windshield spiderwebbing before the shatter. Summer road trip was his idea, a reset, he called it. "Let's get out of this concrete jungle. Head west, see the real America." I agreed, desperate for the road to mend us. We loaded up his beat-up Jeep Cherokee. Tent, cooler, playlists heavy on Dylan and the Eagles, and pointed it toward the heartland. First stop, St. Louis, arch gleaming like a gateway to forgiveness, where we kissed under fireworks on the riverfront, the crowd's cheers drowning our whispers. Through Kansas prairies, golden waves rolling endless, we talked, really talked, for the first time in months. "I love you," he said one dusk, hand over mine on the gearshift. "This, us, it's everything." Tears pricked my eyes. I believed him again. Colorado mountains next, hiking trails where altitude stole our breath but not our spark. Picnics by alpine lakes, his head in my lap as I read from a battered copy of Leaves of Grass. By Utah, the Red Rock canyons whispered ancient secrets, mirroring the ones we'd buried. Zion's slot canyons narrowed like our doubts, forcing us close, his arm around my waist as water trickled cold. "Promise me," I said one night, campfire crackling. "No more hiding." He nodded, solemn. "Promise." The Grand Canyon was the crescendo bucket list finale. The Earth's raw wound laid bare. We arrived at dawn, south rim mist-shrouded, the vastness swallowing us whole. "Holy shit," Alex breathed, gripping the railing, and I echoed it, on nodding my throat. Days blurred. Mule rides down Bright Angel Trail, sweat-soaked and exhilarated. Stargazing from the rim, his body curled around mine against the chill. It was perfect, or so I thought, until the hikers, the group we'd befriended at the lodge, easy Midwestern folks with coolers of craft beer and stories of their own, Around the fire pit that last night, laughter flowed, and in a tipsy haze, Alex's hand found mine under the blanket. Emboldened, I leaned in, lips brushing his in the firelight's glow. That's when it shattered. Whoa, easy there, Tiger. One of the guys, Mark, burly ex-Marine, chuckled, eyes wide. The circle froze, awkward silence stretching. Alex yanked back like I'd burned him, face paling. It's nothing, he said, too loud, forcing a laugh that sliced me open. Just messing around. Brothers, you know? The word bros landed like a gut punch. I stood, chair scraping gravel, the canyon's wind whipping my denial away. Messing around? My voice cracked, raw. After everything? He wouldn't meet my eyes, mumbling to the group. Yeah, Jake's dramatic, theater kid thing. Laughter rippled, tentative, and I walked, blind, furious, toward the rim, the void calling like a siren's song. Behind me, his voice chased, Jake, wait, but I didn't. The edge loomed, and with it, the truth. Love like ours wasn't a game. It was a leap. The trail down from the rim was a descent into hell, each switchback grinding salt into the wound. Dawn broke bloody over the canyon walls, painting them in hues of betrayal, crimson and rust, like the flush of shame on Alex's face replaying in my mind. I hiked alone, boots pounding red dust, the group's easy chatter a distant echo I'd fled hours ago. Water bottle empty, lungs burning, but the physical ache was mercy compared to the hollow in my chest. How many times had I excused it? The deflections, the soon-s stacking like unpaid bills. This wasn't a slip. It was the mask cracking, revealing the coward beneath. By midday, I collapsed at Phantom Ranch. Green oasis in the inferno, cottonwoods shading the canteen where exhausted hikers swapped tales. I ordered a lemonade, hands trembling as I signed the register. Jacob Harlan, solo. The clerk, a wiry Navajo woman with kind eyes, tilted her head. Lost your group. I managed a nod, throat tight. Sometimes the canyon shows you what you need to see, she said, sliding the glass over. Even if it hurts. Her words clung like mule sweat as I trudged on, toward the river. The Colorado churned below, muddy and relentless, a mirror to the turmoil roiling inside. Flashbacks assaulted. Our first apartment, dancing in underwear to Tiny Dancer. The night he held me through a callback rejection, whispering, "You're enough. Lies? Or truths too fragile for daylight." Alex caught up at Indian Garden, his Jeep abandoned at the top. He'd hitched a ride with rangers, face gaunt under the brim of his cap. "Jake," he panted, grabbing my arm as I shouldered my pack. "Please, let me explain." I jerked free, venom spilling. "Explain what? That I'm your dirty little secret? Your bro to laugh about over beers." The words echoed off the cliffs, amplifying the ugliness. Hikers glanced our way, but the canyon swallowed secrets whole. He winced, raking hands through sweat-damp hair. "It's not God, it's not like that." Panicked. "Mark's from back home, conservative as hell. If he tells." "Your dad? The firm?" I laughed, bitter. "Screw them, Alex. What about me? I've waited, hidden, pretended for years. And for what? A punchline?" Tears welled in his eyes, blue fractured like glacial ice. "I love you. You know that. But it's complicated. Family, career, everything I've built. Complicated." I spat, turning away. That's code for scared. The path steepened, agave spines glinting like accusations, and I pushed on, leaving him rooted in dust. Camp that night, by the river's roar, isolation was a bitter companion. Tents dotted the beach like surrendered flags, fellow adventurers murmuring around headlamps. I journaled by firelight, pages filling with rage-scrawled pleas. Why can't you choose us? Why am I never enough? Sleep evaded, rivers rage my lullaby, until pre-dawn stirred me for the ascent. The climb back was purgatory, 1.7 billion years of geology mocking my fragility. Legs screamed, sun baked doubt into my skin, but halfway up, At the tunnel carved through stone, Alex appeared again. Leaning against the wall, water skin extended like an olive branch. "Truce?" he asked, voice hoarse. I snatched it, gulping without thanks. "What do you want, Alex?" "Absolution. Honesty." He slid down beside me, shadows pooling in his collarbones. "I fucked up. Big time. Riley. Started as nothing, but after the family trip, I spiraled. Thought maybe if I tried normal. Normal." The word ignited fresh fury. "You mean straight? Pretending I'm just your roommate? Your prop?" He flinched. "No. God, no. It's me, Jake. The fear. Dad's voice in my head, the partners at the firm, they expect the wife, the 2.4 kids. And Riley. She was easy. Safe. Safe." I echoed hollow. "While I was what? Dangerous. Real," he whispered, reaching for my hand. I let him just this once, calluses rough against my palm. "Too real. You make me want everything, the life, the labels. But I'm terrified I'll lose it all." The tunnel amplified his confession. Stone walls holding our truths like a vault. I pulled away, standing. "Then choose, Alex. Me or the facade. I can't keep bridging this gap alone." He nodded, broken. "I know. Give me time. Time. The thief of lovers." I hiked on, the rim a distant promise, his footsteps trailing but not closing. Back at the lodge, the group had scattered. Mark's awkward apology via text. "Hey man, no judgment here. Live and let live." But the damage festered. Alex booked us a separate cabin to talk, but words failed. We circled like wary cats. Him pacing with half-hearted amends, me sketching canyon vistas to avoid his gaze. One evening, over lukewarm coffee on the porch, he cracked. "Remember an arbor? That fire escape. How could I forget?" My voice softened, traitor heart yielding. "You said always. I want that. Us out there. But I need help. Therapy, maybe. Coming out slow." Hope flickered, fragile as a match in wind. "Slow how?" "Start with friends. Riley first, end it clean. Then family after bar exam." I searched his face, seeing the boy who'd shared secrets under stars. "Okay," I breathed. But no more halfway. We kissed then, tentative tasting of salt and second chances, sealing a pact with the canyon as witness. That night, tangled in unfamiliar sheets, his touch was reverent, mapping apologies on my skin. Dawn found us renewed, packing the Jeep with tentative optimism. The drive east was amending. Detours through Santa Fe's adobe charm, where we wandered galleries hand in hidden hand. Oklahoma diners serving pie and possibility. Back in Brooklyn, reality crashed, his internship ramping, my agent calling with a workshop invite. But we tried. Couples counseling in a Chelsea walk-up. His hand squeezing mine as the therapist unpacked closets long locked. Riley faded. A clean break, he swore. Her texts archived like old wounds. "It's you," he affirmed one night, cooking carbonara from a recipe we'd clipped together. "Always has been." Summer waned into fall, leaves turning in Prospect Park like turning points. He came out to his sister first, tearful FaceTime. Her hug pixelated but fierce. "About damn time. Big bro, love you both." Emboldened, he emailed a college buddy, testing waters. Ripples spread, cautious but kind. Yet doubt lingered, a shadow at our heels. Holiday cards from his parents arrived, cheery with subtext, "Can't wait for grandkids." Alex paled, folding them away. "Soon," he murmured, but the word echoed hollow now. New Year's Eve, Times Square madness below our rooftop perch. Borrowed from a theater pal, we toasted with plastic flutes. "To us," he said, pulling me close amid the confetti storm. Fireworks burst, mirroring the bloom in my chest. For a moment the world felt conquerable. But canyons carve deep, and some scars run silent. Winter gripped the city like a jealous lover, snow blanketing brownstones in false purity, while our fragile peace thawed unevenly. Alex threw himself into mocks, bar exam looming like a guillotine. His study cave our living room, fortified with highlighters and half-eaten bagels. I'd tiptoe around, brewing tea, slipping notes into his books. "You've got this, cowboy." Smiles returned, weary but warm, and in stolen moments, we'd reconnect. Slow dances in the kitchen to Coltrane, his forehead against mine, whispering dreams of a house upstate, dog named Scout. My world spun parallel. Callback for a queer ensemble piece at the Public, lines rehearsing in my head like prayers. "This could be it." I told him over Thai takeout, eyes alight. He beamed, genuine. Knew you'd shine. That night, celebration turned intimate, his laughter vibrating against me as we mapped futures on rumpled sheets. But entropy crept. His firm's holiday party, an annual ordeal of schmoozing and scotch, loomed. "Come as my +1, he urged, casual. "Meet the partners. Show 'em the real me." Heart swelling, I agreed, ironing my one good button down, nerves fizzing like champagne. The venue, soaring ballroom in Midtown, chandeliers dripping light on tuxedoed power players. Alex, sharp in wool, introduced me seamless. Jacob Harlan, theater rising star and my better half. Gasps minimal. A few raised brows, but handshakes followed, toasts to breaking molds. Riley was there, across the room, her smile tight as she air-kissed his cheek. "Congrats on the mocks," she said, eyes flicking to me. Curious, not cruel. "He's lucky," she added, and I nodded victory sweet. Later, on the balcony overlooking frost-lace skyline, Alex pulled me close. "See? Not so bad." Wind nipped, but his warmth anchored. "Proud of you," I murmured, and he kissed me, bold, unapologetic, under the indifferent stars. Emboldened, he planned the big one. Family dinner, post-exam, neutral ground in Chicago. "Full disclosure," he declared, booking flights. "No more half-truths." I packed with butterflies, Whitman tucked in my bag like talisman. The exam crushed him, 3 days of siege, emerging zombie-like but alive. "Think I passed?" He rasped on the call, and relief flooded. We flew Midwest, hearts tandem. His parents' home. Colonial sprawl in Oak Park, Frank Lloyd Wright echoes in the eaves. Dinner aromas wafted, roast beef, his mom's specialty. As we arrived, Sister Ellie hugging fierce. "Ready for this?" she whispered, winking. The table gleamed, crystal catching candlelight. Small talk flowed, my play, his scores. Then, post-dessert, Alex cleared his throat. "Mom, Dad, there's something." Hands clasped under linen, he spilled. "Us, the years, the love." Words tumbled. "Jacob's my partner. Has been forever." Silence descended, heavy as leaded glass. His dad's fork paused midway, Mom's napkin twisting white-knuckled. "Partner," she echoed, voice thin. "As in?" "Gay," Alex said, steady. "We love each other." The fallout was tectonic. Dad's face reddened. "This is a phase, son. That city, it's poisoned you." Mom teared up. "We just want grandkids, Alex. Normalcy." Ellie interjected, fierce. "They're happy, aren't they? Isn't that enough?" Not that night. Accusations flew. Disappointment, confusion, Bible verses hurled like grenades. Alex defended, voice cracking. "It's who I am. With him." But exhaustion won. We fled to Ellie's apartment, crashing on her couch amid sibling solace. Morning brought frost, literal and figurative. Texts from his parents. "Come alone. Talk sense." Alex stared at his phone, gutted. "They'll come around." I soothed, but doubt seeded. Back in New York, the fracture widened. He withdrew. Longer hours at the firm, justifications piling. Need to prove myself. Nights, he'd come home distant, scrolling job listings in D.C. Better opportunities. "What about us?" I'd press, over cooling dinners. Riley resurfaced, not overt, but insidious. "Mentor lunch," he'd say, but lipstick on his collar once, faint as a whisper. Confrontations escalated. "Is this payback? For the canyon?" "No," he'd snap, then crumple. "It's escape. From the calls, the stares at work. Dad's cut me off, tuition done. I need stability." With her. The question hung, venomous. God, no. But she understands the game. No drama. Drama. That's what I was now, the complication in his calculated life. Spring thawed the streets but not us. My play opened to raves, sold-out houses, critics calling it a raw anthem of queer resilience. Alex came opening night, front row, applause thundering. Backstage, roses in hand. You were electric. We celebrated, cast party at a Soho lounge, his arm around me proud. For a night, the world aligned. But dawn brought reality. Voicemail from his dad. Icy. Heard about your show. Congrats. But Alex needs focus. Send him home. I deleted it, but the poison seeped. He started staying late. Depositions. And I drowned in rehearsals. Our apartment a mausoleum of missed connections. One June evening, storm raging outside. I waited with candles, pasta wilting. Key turned at midnight. He reeked of wine. Thai askew. Where? I demanded, standing. Work thing. Eyes evasive. Liar. Heart plummeting, I grabbed his phone. Unlocked. Damning. Text to Riley. Need you. Tonight. Make it stop hurting. The room tilted. You son of a... He snatched it back, defeated. It was one time, after Dad's call. I spiraled, Jake. She's nothing. Nothing? Fury crested. You swore. We swore. Tears streamed his face. I know. I'm broken. Can't do this, us, right now. The betrayal landed like canyon rockfall, burying hope. Then go, I whispered, door opening to rain-lashed night. He hesitated, then left, echo of footsteps my elegy. Alone, I shattered sobs racking till empty, then numb. Friends rallied, castmates with wine, Ellie via video. He's scared, not cruel, but scars don't logic away. Summer scorched empty. I sublet his half, boxes of his things in storage. Sweaters scented with him, photos we'd framed. Additions blurred, acclaim hollow without his cheers. Therapy unpacked the grief. You gave everything. Now reclaim you. Healing was jagged. Runs along the Hudson at dawn. Journaling truths I'd silenced. A new play brewed. Catharsis scripted. Canyons of the soul. Word came fall, he passed the bar. Job offer in DC prestigious, solitary. A letter arrived, handwritten. I broke us. Forgive? No, love you still. Always. I burned it on the fire escape. Ashes scattering like released birds. Not hate but goodbye. Autumn painted Manhattan in fire. Leaves aflame in Central Park, mirroring the slow burn of my reconstruction. The sublet ended, and I claimed the apartment whole. His posters down, mine up. Frida Kahlo's unapologetic gaze, Audre Lorde's words framed like armor. Nights stretched, but solitude birthed clarity. Runs turned meditative. Scripts flowed unblocked. My therapist, a no-nonsense dyke from the village, nodded at sessions. Grief's a teacher, Jacob. What's the lesson? Self-worth, I answered, voice steadying. I can't dim for anyone. The play, tentatively titled Echoes of the Rim, took shape. A queer drifter confronting love's abyss, inspired but not confessional. Rehearsals became sanctuary, director's notes sharpening my edges. Word spread. An off-Broadway house bit, production slated for winter. This is your moment, my agent crowed, and for once I believed. Ellie checked in weekly, bridge across the chasm. He's in DC, she'd report hesitant. Miserable. Asks about you. I'd deflect. Good for him. But curiosity gnawed. One tipsy night, I searched. LinkedIn polish, smiling headshot, firm bio touting, dedicated advocate. No mentions of Riley or us. Ghosts, erased. Thanksgiving solo. Takeout turkey. Binge of It's a Wonderful Life. Ironic tears for George Bailey's What Ifs. Phone buzzed, unknown number. Heart stuttered. I answered. Jake. Alex's voice. Ragged. Don't hang up. I didn't. What? Miss you. Every damn day. Pause, city hum filling void. Saw your play listing. Proud. Can we talk? No. The word empowered. You chose Alex. Live it. I chose wrong. Raw. DC's a cage. Firm's cutthroat. Dad's proud from afar. But you, God, you're the air I need. Pity stirred, but resolve held. Heal yourself first. Then maybe. Click. Cathartic. Winter rehearsals intensified. Snow flurries outside. Spotlights forging me inside. Cast became family. Marco, the lead, sharing late-night bodega runs. Lena, stage manager, her hugs maternal. Premiere night loomed, tickets hot. Ellie flew in front row promise. Then the call, his mom, voice quavering. Jacob? It's Evelyn. Shock rooted me. Heard about your show. Beautiful work. We were wrong. About everything. Words tumbled. Apologies for dinner, for silence, for expectations. Alex is lost without you. Come home. For Christmas. Temptation tugged, but I demurred. Thank you. Means a lot. But this is my home now. The echo lingered, softening edges. Opening night. House packed. Buzz electric. Adrenaline surged as curtain rose. My monologue first. Canyon's call in verse. The fall isn't the end. It's the echo that rebuilds. Applause crashed, sustaining through acts. Post-show, lobby thronged. Ellie crushed me in embrace. Stunning. Then him. Alex, corner shadow, suit rumpled, eyes red-rimmed. Watched from balcony. Couldn't breathe. Heart clenched. Love stubborn weed. Why here? To see you rise. He stepped closer, vulnerable. I've been in therapy. Came out to Dad full. He hung up, but Mom's trying. Riley's gone. For good. I searched his face. Boy I'd loved, man emerging. And you? Ready? Nod. Fervent. For us. If you'll have me. Theater emptied. Echoes fading. We walked to a dive bar. Snow dusting shoulders. Over whiskeys, truths poured. His isolation, panic attacks in sterile apartments. My growth, boundaries forged in fire. I forgive, I said finally, hand over his. But trust rebuilds slow. Take all the time, he vowed. Reentry was tentative. Coffee dates, no overnights. He transferred back NYU fellowship, commuting grit. We attended PFLAG meetings, hands linked public. His parents visited. Awkward brunch in Brooklyn. Mom hugging tentative. Dad gruff. Treat him right, son. Progress. Glacial. Spring bloomed tentative. Park picnics, his head in my lap reciting policy briefs like poetry. My run extended, second production greenlit. Intimacy returned layered. First kiss post-reunion. Porch swing gentle. Nights building to passion tempered by care. But conflict simmered. Firm whispers. Kane's the gay one. Tested him, he'd vent. Me anchoring. One night, after a partner's veiled jab, he broke. What if I can't hack it? Lose everything again. Then we build new. I countered fierce. You're enough. Climax brewed Memorial Day weekend. Canyon return. His pitch. Face it together. Heal the scar. I agreed, nerves nodded. Drive mirrored our first. Playlists updated. Springsteen to Hosier. Rim arrival. Vastness humbling. Winds whispering absolution. We hiked hand in hand, public now, no hiding. At that fateful overlook, he dropped to knee. Not proposal, but amends. I broke you here. Let me mend. Tears fell, mine and his. We mend? I corrected, pulling him up. Kiss sealed. Canyon applauding in gusts. Yet, storm clouds gathered. Back east, his dad's health scare, heart episode, hospital sterile. Flight to Chicago. Alex frayed, me support. Bedside vigil, monitors beeping recriminations. Dad woke, eyes on us. You too. Still? Alex nodded, chin high. Always, Dad. Whispered truce. Didn't raise you to hide. Sorry, son. Not full, but fracture mending. Summer deepened bonds. Beach weekends in the Hamptons, borrowed by a castmate. Pride parade, rainbows draping our shoulders. Love felt earned, textured. But betrayal's ghost lingered. August, anonymous email to his firm, outing details, vicious. Backlash swift. Sidelong glances, caseloads lightened. Sabotage, he seethed, suspecting Riley's orbit. Paranoia crept. Nights he'd pace, doubts resurfacing. Is it worth it? He asked one thunderous eve, rain lashing windows. You are, I affirmed, but fear chilled. The breaking point. Bar Association Gala, Power Nexus. Alex, polished, introduced me proud, until a senior partner cornered, slurring, Kane, talent's there, but this, lifestyle, clients talk. Alex froze, old panic flashing. After in cab home, silence lethal. See? He burst. It's poison. No, I countered. Bigots are. Fight or fold. He folded, resignation drafted dawn. DC redux looming. Safer. For us. Betrayal anew. Not infidelity, but surrender. You're running again. I accused, voice steel. To protect you. From what? Love. Door slammed. He left for a hotel, chasm reopening. Grief cycled fresh. Anger, bargaining, hollow. Ellie mediated. He's terrified of losing you to this fight. Then fight together, I insisted. Weeks blurred. Space requested. Emails curt. My play toured, Boston acclaim, solitude stark. One night, post-show voicemail. Jake, I'm done running. Meet me? Canyon. One last time. Heart ward, hope versus scar. I booked flight. The South Rim welcomed me like an old confessor. October chill sharpening the air. Golden aspens fringing the abyss in defiant color. I come alone first. Hike to clear the fog. Boots crunching leaves like brittle resolves. At the overlook, wind tugged memories. That stolen almost kiss. The bros laugh echoing eternal. Now, standing firm, I whispered to the void. I am whole. The canyon answered in updraft, lifting not falling. Alex arrived dusk, rental car crunching gravel, face etched with miles of regret. You came. Relief cracked his voice as he approached, hands open. No grasp, just presence. Last chance, I said, arms crossed against the chill. No more escapes. He nodded, gesturing the trail. Walk with me. We descended slow. Bright angel's ribbon unspooling, conversation threading tentative. His DC interlude. Lonely efficiency, nights scrolling my interviews, therapy unpacking paternal chains. Realized hiding hurts most me. He confessed, pausing at a rest house. You were right enough. Sun dipped, shadows pooling in crevices like unspoken fears. The email? Traced to a disgruntled intern, not Riley. Firm's cleaning house. Diversity push now. Irony twisted his smile. Lost the job anyway, but gained clarity. And us? Heart poised on ledge. Us if you'll rebuild with a fool. Eyes locked. Raw. I love you, Jacob. Labels, fights, all. Marry me? Not today when ready, but promise. Tears blurred the vista. I pulled him close, lips meeting in affirmation. Canyon vast. Our world small but vast enough. Yes, I breathed. But slow. Real. Ascent was rebirth, legs burning, bonds strengthening. At rim, stars pricked velvet sky. We camped, fire small against infinity. Stories swapped. Future sketches, a joint practice, him advocacy for queer rights, me penning our epic. Laughter returned. Genuine. Dawn hike to Plateau Point, river silver thread below, sealed it. Echoes back strength, he said, echoing title of my pain. I smiled. And love. Return east was packed. Therapy tandem coming out complete. His parents warmed. Mom's care packages. Dad's golf invite. Bring the boy. Ellie officiated mock ceremony in her backyard. Rings placeholder but vows iron. Firm new. Progressive boutique. Alex litigating for equality. First case, asylum for a persecuted artist. My tour wrapped triumph. Off-Broadway extension, whispers of Broadway. Life synced. Mornings coffee shared. Evening scripts and briefs intertwined. Winter solstice, Central Park blanketed. We exchanged promises under lamplight. Simple bands, engraved, always. Friends toasted, Ellie snapping candids. No grandeur but gravity. Years folded, his practice boomed, amicus briefs shaping law. My plays anthologized, TED Talk on resilience viral. We bought upstate Victorian fixer porch swing for stargazing. Scout the rescue mutt chased fireflies, our laughter chasing doubts. Not flawless, arguments flared, his workaholic flares mine anxious. But canyons teach, erosion shapes, doesn't destroy. Therapy tuned us, forgiveness a practice. 10th anniversary, Grand Canyon return. Full circle. Rimside, sunset gilding us, he knelt proper. Jacob Harlan, echo of my heart. Marry me eternal? Yes? I laughed, pulling him down to the blanket spread. Vows renewed, Canyon choir. Life's not conquest, it's persistence. Betrayal scarred, but strength echoed louder. In America's wild heart, we rose, together, unbroken. Epilogue whispers. Kids? Maybe fostering stories shared. But core? Human, flawed, loving, fierce. The end? No, just next bend.